Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and legionnaires of all ages, welcome to, in our opinion, episode something. Because I've completely forgotten what number we're up to. I am Nick the Geek, and I am joined, of course, by my two cohorts, my two co-compatriots, and my two best friends. I am joined by Simon. Simon, how the hell are we?
Really good, mate.
Good. And we are joined by the Redeemer himself. Man of few words. We are joined by Andy.
Hi,
how are you, mate? Hi. See, genius. Every week. Same thing. Oh, and we've got Jimmy in the comments. Hello, Jim.
Jimmy.
Quick chill for Friday Nitro Reviews every Friday at 5 p.m. Catch us. We're doing every single episode of WCW Nitro. It's a blast. So, ladies and gents, this is a bit of an impromptu podcast. This was Simon's idea because we thought we'd get together for the week. And it's been a while. So, lads, first off, did you watch SmackDown?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. Right. Only really one important thing happened on the show, which was, of course, Roman Reigns declaring for the Royal Rumble. Now, this leads to the possibility that at WrestleMania we are going to get Roman Cody 3. Do you think this is likely, or do you still think WWE are going to go down the Cody Cena route? Go.
It's not happening. No, I mean, maybe next year, if and when Cody's a heel, yeah, but it's not happening this year. It's Rock Roman, you know. That's what we wanted for like 4 years now. So, yeah, Cody Cena, I don't know. You know, I think a lot depends on whether Brock's back now that Vince has been cleared. I think they could maybe go for Gunther Brock because that was always the plan.
Very possible.
Cena Logan, you know, let's go for Cody Randy. That's more of a story. Maybe not as spectacular as Cody Cena, but it's more of a story.
Well, it's not just more of a story. That story writes itself, the amount of history there is there between those two boys.
Yeah.
Andy, what do you think?
No, I think it's going to be Rock. I think Rock Roman will happen. I think The Rock's quite clever in what he does, and as much as it annoyed me on the first Raw thing, it's like sometimes you got to make people want it. And I think he's trying to go down the route of last year, where it's kind of like, okay, last year we stepped in and said, oh, we're going to do this, yeah. Well, everyone expects me to face Roman this year. So on the Netflix, they're going to expect something. We're not going to give them anything. And, you know, further down the line, maybe Rumble time or something like that, we'll get that going on. As for Cody, I think he... I don't know, maybe we're looking at Cena, potentially, or Drew McIntyre. It'd be a good one.
Drew would be good.
Yeah, I think that's probably where I'd go.
Well, gents, I'm inclined to agree with our Floridian friend here. I think it's going to be a triple threat.
Stop putting triple threats out there, man. Jesus Christ.
Well, they haven't done one in quite a few years. It protects The Rock because it's a triple threat match, so he doesn't have to do as much as he would in a singles bout, same as he did with the tag match last year. And this way they can squeeze in a third repeat main event without it really being a repeat main event. It's something I can see Triple H doing.
That's my issue with it, though. You shouldn't get a repeat main event after Mania. Yeah, the days of having a rematch at Backlash, or the years you have had a triple threat main event at Mania, 2 out of the 3 of main event at the month after. So if that's the biggest match, why not have it at Mania?
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I agree with
Mania main event should always be 1-on-1. Always.
I tend to agree, but I just have a feeling they're going to do a triple threat this year.
I think also for me, it's like the main event at WrestleMania should be a combination of the storyline. It should be all done and dusted. And I don't know how you get to that triple threat. I don't know how you get them two in the triple threat with Rock. I think,
well, it's easy.
You know, it's
easy, dude. Roman wins the Rumble. That sets him on the path to Cody. All right, that's fine. That's the easy part. The Rock's the final boss. All he's got to do is say, no. I said I have business to handle with Cody first. I'm in that match. Job done. No one can argue with him from a kayfabe.
I just think he'll lose
from a business standpoint.
Well, I think from a business, well, you can argue with him from a business standpoint, because why would you put your two biggest matches into one match?
I know
Because
you can. You know
it
what
doesn't
I'm
make
talking
that it doesn't make that match any bigger. And if there's money there to be made, especially Rock being director Rock, in real life, then it's like, okay, well, you want to do them two matches separate because they're two large gates.
Can I ask you this? All right, I think the last time we saw the same big main event 2 years in a row, correct me if I'm wrong, was Andre and Hogan. Main event of WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 4. For anyone arguing, I know it was halfway through the show, but it was still advertised as a main event. So,
well, technically, in that case, Shawn and Taker.
Okay, well, there's another example. But the question I was going to ask you, and it works with Shawn and Taker too, but that's different because one of them retired at the end of it. Imagine you've had Hogan Andre 2 years in a row. Do you think there was a conversation prior to WrestleMania 5 saying, hey, why don't we have Hogan, Andre, Savage in a triple threat match? Because if the IWC would have been around, there probably would have been. But no.
Okay, well, our Floridian friend says Roman wins the Rumble, and then Rock reminds him that he already called dibs on Cody a year at Mania during the Raw after Mania last year. And he follows up by saying Rock and Cena did it too.
Yeah.
Rock and Cena did it too, yeah.
They did.
What about that?
Yeah,
And that was his first time, last time, only time.
Yeah, I think. I think with wrestling as well, though, is like, two's enough, three's too many. I think that you can probably rerun the main event twice somewhere along, but you start going past that, and it's like, no, you're doing it far too much. And I think Roman and Cody need to stay away from each other for quite a while. They can be
Austin and Rock, right? Austin and Rock worked 3 times because the allegiance has switched, right? So if we're going to have a full-blown heel Cody, and he was talking about Homelander this week on somebody's show, I forget whose it was.
Yeah.
If we're going to get a full-blown heel Cody against the face Roman, yeah, I'm down for that, but that's going to take another year yet.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I feel like it's considering they want to get the bang out the book endeavour, and The Rock's a smart man, Triple H is a smart man. It's like you're wasting your time putting all 3 of them in a match together. I feel like they need to be separate. Don't forget, we've got come SummerSlam is the first 2-night SummerSlam as well. So why could you not have Rock versus Cody there, or Rock Roman there if you wanted to go down that route? But to merge them all together, no, doesn't make sense to me.
Particularly while they're all faces.
I mean, one thing I can guarantee is, or I feel like I can guarantee, is that The Rock will be at WrestleMania again. Because same as last year, I think Rock's payment nowadays is stock. And I don't know if any of you seen that he got given a load more stock last week.
About 6 million or something.
Yeah. So I think that may be the payment for what he's going to be doing going forward in his program.
Quite possibly. Right. Also, Dale's just popping in the comments.
Hey, Dale.
First time, long time. Hello, Dale. Warriors match with Savage hit best. Would you think that Macho had lost the match in his list of the top 10 ever? It's top 10s. Can someone else read that? I'm dyslexic and it's breaking my brain.
Well, it's easy. First time, long time, guys. Warrior match with Savage was his best. Would you think that Macho had that match on his list of top 10 ever? If in top 10, is it top 5?
I think
I don't know, but probably.
Yeah. It's hard to tell because he was a little bit crazy sometimes. But...
I mean, I tend to disagree that it's his best match ever. It was Warrior's best match ever, but I think Randy's best match ever was against Diamond Dallas Page in WCW.
No, Randy's best match ever was against Steamboat.
Fair argument.
WrestleMania 3, 100%.
Fair argument.
DDP matches.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in the top 5 for me, and I think Randy had put it there because, obviously Randy was a student of the game, and I think for that match he got out of Warrior, I think he will put it in there as one of his best because of what they achieved together, even though Warrior was very limited.
I've never seen hit 10, was it 10 flying elbow drops in a row in another match ever?
I think it was 5.
Might have been 5, but it was really impressive.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was Ultimate Warrior's best match by far.
Thank you, Dale. Sorry, I got my wire crossed.
I don't know. I mean, Ultimate Warrior, I think his WrestleMania 12 match against Triple H was technically flawless. You can't fault that match. So it's a 5-star match.
Well, it's kind of hard to be technically bad in 32 seconds.
It's flawless. Every second is it's meant to be.
Hey, Nick, some of your lazy fans have told me different, mate.
As far as your Lawrence told me, mate, you're known as the 1 minute man.
That includes the cigarette after.
Has anybody got it?
Right, lads. Anyway, that's enough about that. So, Simon, this podcast was your idea. What do you want to talk about?
I just thought with it being like a groundbreaking week this week, we've had the debut of Raw on Netflix. We've had the debut of SmackDown on Netflix. We haven't all got together to talk about it. So that's what I want to talk about.
No, we will. 7 minutes dog-eared. Probably is.
Should we start with Raw on Netflix? That is on Netflix. On Netflix.
Raw is
Why
on
don't we go
Netflix.
around the room? Everyone give me 2 positives and 2 negatives about Raw. Nick, do you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. Great wrestling. Like, I thought the matches were phenomenal this week. I thought they were well paced. I thought they were given enough time, and I thought they had substance to the story and to the weight of the match, which is always important, and I loved it. Especially the main event because of a punk mark. I absolutely loved that main event match, and a little nerdy tidbit: he was wearing his Ring of Honor entrance hoodie.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was, which is really cool. Negatives. I was disappointed that we didn't get the final boss. I thought what The Rock did was wonderful because it's what The Rock does. He went out there and he showed for the company that he is now on the board of directors for, and that makes perfect sense to do on a night when you are, I believe it was 4.5 million people, which is the largest rating in a considerable amount.
4.9 by the end of the day.
Sorry,
worldwide.
4.9 by the end of the day, which was that's a considerable jump in viewers.
Yeah, it was
compared to the last few years.
2.4 million American viewers.
Domestically. But that's only the end of the day. How many people have watched it in the 5-6 days since? I think it's going to be close to 7 or 8 million now.
Oh.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well, it was number one, wasn't it, on the Netflix thing that they do? So that tells you it's done well.
Pretty much all week.
Oh,
yeah.
Jimmy has answered your question, Simon. 2 positives: Dominic Mysterio and Punk Rollins match.
There's 2
2 negatives.
Yeah. Yes, that is a big negative. Liv lost her title. Yes, she did.
I think Dale's got a good point there as well. As like they had the matches in there which showcase what the best they've got, or quite a lot of the best they've got. I thought putting Roman in that first was really, really clever. Because it was kind of like, okay, we're trying to hook in new views with this kind of, Roman's match is very easy for the mainstream, isn't it?
Yes.
And then people who stayed around got the treat of the Punk Rollins match. So yeah, that was my positive, was the wrestling was good. I don't think what you were saying about progression of storyline, maybe a little bit, but I thought it was more of a kind of showcase of wrestling rather than any progression.
Okay. That's fair enough.
I thought the other thing that was a positive for me was the whole bit with Chad Gable. I think he's a good first opponent for Penta, and I also think debuting Penta on the show would have been wrong. So putting him on his own show next week, same as where they done the Intercontinental title, I think was the right move. So I'm happy about that.
I tend to agree with that. I think that this was already a big enough deal of a show. It didn't need.
I think
the added spice of Penta in the women's IC title final.
My 2 negatives is one of the really sad parts was Hogan getting booed. I can't stand these idiots where because somebody's got a political opinion, you have to start booing them and doing all that, which is just so annoying.
Jimmy put it a good way to me on our show the other day. They were booing Terry Bollea. They weren't booing Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, it was definitely X-Pac that.
Yeah. It was just like, I love Hogan, as you know. I'd love to have seen him live. And never
on that note, it's not the first time this has happened. This was happening to Hogan in 91, 92.
Yeah.
And I think, we've seen a few people saying similar things. Let's bring back Hollywood Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Let's doesn't have to be
Lean
the end of
into
the show, but let him wear black and white. Let him come out and let him either manage Dom, who doesn't really have to.
He doesn't need it, but that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Or Bronson when he's done it.
Sadly, you're only going to get them little pops from Hogan. That's why he stands at the top of the ramp nowadays. He can't even walk down to the ring, can he? Properly. That's why they don't. That's why they don't even. They just put him on the stage because they can't even get him down to the ring, which is quite sad. And the thing is, he's like,
Hulk Hogan made some awful comments and made a couple of mistakes, and has lied through his teeth a lot.
Well,
and unfortunately, a lot of the audience that is watching now is a lot younger than us, and do not remember the golden days of Hulk and Hollywood Hogan.
You've got to remember that. How old is Hogan now? You know, he's an OAP, mate.
66, 67.
He's older than that, isn't he?
I'll have a look. Give me a sec.
So I'm just thinking, like, you know, with his age and stuff, is it him lying a lot of the time, or is it he just basically doesn't bloody remember? He's just too old.
Yeah, but no, the comments he made 10 years ago, he probably doesn't remember anymore.
Yeah, fair dues. But, you know, it's just one of them. Like, we should just look at Hogan for what he is and just give him a bit of respect because, you know, we've done a lot for the business. I don't give a care what anyone says.
He's 71.
71. Yeah. At the end of the day, right, an opinion is an opinion. That's all it is.
Correct. Name of the show.
Without getting political, you know, I believe in freedom of speech. And if someone says something that you disagree with, you don't have to listen to them. That's the end of it. And
correct.
I think we're all affected by people that we don't like and people that we do like that constantly. No one's going to say 100% what you agree with.
Mate, I vote Labour. You know, I don't know if any of you vote Conservatives, but so what? What's it matter? Do you know what I mean? Why are you starting to get so political over it?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What I don't get is why Hogan got all this heat. And Undertaker has also been on the Trump bandwagon.
He had him on his podcast.
Yeah.
He had him on his podcast.
Undertaker said a few dodgy things recently.
But hang on, we've got a few comments to go through, lads. So Dale says 2 negatives. The crowd trying to boo White Knight booing Hogan. Rock being a lame ass Rock negotiating anything that's taking place this year.
I think Dale makes a good point there with the White Knight. It's a case of let's get together and let's do something anti-establishment because we're cool. I think that's what the crowd was doing. But yeah, it might be a good thing in the end if he brings back Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah, I mean, my other very disappointing from that show was The Rock. And, you know, I love The Rock, as you know. Absolute hero, man. Love everything he does, love the way he does. But the one thing that really annoyed me was the exact comment of, this is the biggest gate in history of wrestling. So it's like, basically, well done, we ripped you all off. And that just annoyed me, do you know what I mean? It's like WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know?
I saw something this weekend.
Sorry,
go on, mate. Sorry, you finish, go ahead.
Oh, it's like, don't get me wrong, right? Announcing gates to me is in terms of attendance, I have no problem with. But when people start announcing gross revenue of gates, it really pisses me off. It pisses me off the way the UFC does it. If they'd done it at football matches, I'd be really annoyed. It's like, okay, say your attendance, no problem with that, but stop with all this biggest gate in history. And fans cheering just annoys me because, like, you're cheering at the fact that you've paid overinflated prices, you fucking idiots.
Well, you and I were talking about this on the phone the other day, Andy, and a large problem, and it is a problem, is because they're owned by TKO now. And TKO own UFC, they're going to try and bring in the same financial model that they use for UFC for WWE, and that involves hiking ticket prices. Don't
get me wrong. I think WWE is great value for money. You know, when you're going to the show, especially at the moment while it's hot. But I just don't like that whole thing of announcing the revenue of a ticket gate. Do you know what I mean? It just annoys me.
No, I can't understand that.
I don't know why. I can't really put my finger on it. I just think, you know, it really gets.
It grinds your gears.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Si.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna make you a bet, Simon.
You make me a bet.
I want to make you a bet. Dominic Mysterio. One of undoubtedly the best things on television in professional wrestling in recent years. I think we both agree with this.
Past 18, 24 months period.
Exactly. With a fine moustache. Just to throw that in there.
It's very Cheech and Chong as well. It's really pushing out well.
Yeah, it's great.
Just all we need is just a work hat and a toolbox, mate, and he'd be flying.
I would like to make you a bet that next WrestleMania, Dominic Mysterio unmasks his father.
When you say next WrestleMania, do you mean
as in WrestleMania coming? WrestleMania coming.
This WrestleMania, yeah.
£5 English.
You want to bet me £5 that
£5
Dominic unmasks the deadbeat dad during WrestleMania?
Correct.
Yeah, mate, I'll take that bet.
Digital handshake.
Awesome.
Good.
I will pay you £5 for that to happen.
No, I think it's great. I was talking about it with Jim the other day, and I was like, I'm going to bet Simon about this. So that's what we're going to do. Right, but I want to talk about Dom.
Yeah, sorry, just one thing, though, is if it doesn't happen at WrestleMania, for Dom's character progression, everything else, it has to happen at some point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, Jimmy thinks it should happen in Mexico City. Can you imagine the heat?
I think from a security perspective, I wouldn't.
Straight up, I mean, it's one thing that he's had his mask off during his WCW days, although technically that's a different character because it was Rey Mysterio Jr., to be pedantic. But it's different in Mexico, isn't it? It's like what kind of once you take it off in Mexico, you're never allowed to rewear it. So, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I think what we think is we've got to look at that and think Dom needs to unmask Ray. Oh yeah, Backlash in Mexico City.
Yeah,
imagine the nuclear heat.
I think you might owe me £5, Nicholas.
I know, but I'm willing to bet it happens at Mania. So
50-50 on this.
Yeah. Fully agree with Jimmy. Heat. So
can I touch on something that Andy mentioned before, which is you were saying that you thought the Penta match being pulled from the show, 11th hour, whenever it was a good thing for Penta, right? And I agree with that because Penta's been one of my favorites for like a decade, and I don't want to see the guy lost in the shuffle. So holding him back a week, Gable is the perfect opponent for him. That's going to be good. And it kind of makes sense for me, the show was aimed more at new viewers or curious viewers or returning viewers. Everything was really slow paced. Like Roman wrestled is PLE pacing on TV.
Yeah, he did.
It was so slow. And for me, it was kind of hard to watch because it was so slow paced. But I kept telling myself, it's not for me. It's not for the IWC. It's not for the regular viewer. It's for the new viewer. And that kind of draws them in. But next week, I'm expecting them to be more matches, faster pace, more storyline development. And that's where Penta slots right in. But one thing I wanted to run past you guys is I had a discussion with somebody this week on X. Can't even mention the name. I can't remember it. Basically, they were saying that Penta fits right into WWE now because as a wrestler, he is diminished. What do you think about that?
Agree. I don't think he's diminished. I think he's at a point in his career where if he carries on doing the stupid stuff that he was doing, he's not going to have no longevity. So I think for him personally, it's really, really good move. And I think some of the stuff in his normal repertoire will come across really, really good in WWE. So, yeah.
Well, I don't like the word diminished. Because I don't feel like he is diminished. I feel like he's in a more controlled environment in WWE. I think he's in a more directed environment in WWE where they put a lot more stake in the way they present a wrestler on television, making sure that wrestler can have longevity as well as do stunning things and not just blow the whole wad in every single match and every single week, which is terrible. It's something that Will Ospreay used to do and no longer does, thank God. Right, which has vastly improved his game, and I think it'll do Penta wonders. I also agree, Si, that I think Chad Gable is the perfect opponent for Penta next week. Chad is so good at putting people over, but I'd also like to point out that WWE have been looking for the quote next Rey Mysterio for a very, very long time. And obviously Dom is there for when Dom is ready to be that.
Dom will never be
I
that,
think
mate. They won't put Dom in that way. He won't. He will never be that luchador because he's too good to put a mask on him.
I'm not talking about putting a mask on him. I'm talking about becoming the next Rey Mysterio in the pantheon of wrestling. As in, looked at as the next top guy.
But Dominic Mysterio doesn't wrestle like Rey Mysterio.
But he can.
Yes, he can.
He can, but I don't think that it suits him with his character and the way he's evolved and stuff. Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you both this question then. With Penta signing with WWE, and we all know that WWE is a merch machine and all the rest of it, do you think Penta joining WWE has an effect on Rey Mysterio being unmasked because they've got the next masked?
No,
I wouldn't say.
How many times, right, have people on the internet or even WWE kind of chilled hype somebody as the next Rey Mysterio? Right? I can think of like at least 10 guys, at least. You know, it started off, we had Ultimo Dragon. There was Sin Cara, there was Kalisto. You know, we've got Dom, we've got Dragon Lee nowadays. I think if anything, Dragon Lee's going to take that role, not Dom. But yeah, I mean, no one is ever going to be the next Rey Mysterio. No one's ever going to be the next Hulk Hogan. No one's ever going to be the next Kurt Angle. What we need is new, never seen before. Success based on
one thing I want to make very clear as well is that's not a shout on Dom. Dom's amazing. I just think Dom and the way that he's evolving and everything else does not.
Well, put it this way:
when that kind of
just so I can clear it up. When I say the next Rey Mysterio, I don't mean wrestling like Rey. I don't mean a character like Rey. I mean the position that Rey occupies at the top of Luchadorum. I don't think that's a real word, but I think you both know what I mean. Rey Mysterio is considered the greatest masked wrestler that has ever lived. Eddie Guerrero, in my opinion, was always better. But Rey Mysterio, by a large majority, is considered the greatest luchador of all time. I think Dom one day will take that role of the greatest luchador that we've ever seen. Because he's that freaking talented, and he's 22.
He's like 18. Yeah, he's a spring chicken. You look back, Andy. I know your point is that he can't maybe wrestle his style of his dad, or as quick or as good as his dad. But then
it's not that I don't think he's as good as his dad. I just don't think his character and everything else will ever play into that style. I don't think they go hand in hand.
I see it. If you think back to Dom's first year, like 4 into 5 years ago, when he was tagging with his dad, and we had like whatever it was called with all the TV screens. Remind me.
Thunderdome.
Yeah, when it was in the Thunderdome, and Dom came in, and he was matching his dad move for move, with like the flying head scissors and broken ranas, and he was doing it in Rey's style. He's more than capable of doing it.
Yeah.
And I still think he's capable of doing it. He's just not doing it because he's not playing that character.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah, as I say, I'm not saying he's not capable of it. I just feel like his kind of character doesn't play into that, do you know what I mean? As Jim says there, maybe when he goes back to being a babyface, we may see it more. But even then, I still don't think that, for me, that type of style sits at the top of the pile. In my opinion, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, it's an entertaining style, it's really, really good and all that, but, it doesn't have no longevity at where I see Dominic Mysterio on the card.
Can I flip this argument? Right? I think part of the issue here is that Dom can't wrestle the style of his dad, can't wrestle as quick as his dad, isn't as good as his dad. I know what you're saying, because he's playing a different character, but I've seen it argued online that Dominic Mysterio isn't big enough. He's not like a Cena size or an Orton size. Is Dominic big enough physically to be a world champion?
Yes. Shawn Michaels was.
Seth Rollins was.
They were both in more aesthetic physical condition than Dom is.
Well, we say that, but we don't know if Dom's got a six-pack underneath that chest protector.
Well, he has. I mean, it's on the suit, right? The psychosis.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Lads, I want to quickly drop this in here because it just popped in my brain. We're over to the other side of the pond, and then we'll get back to Raw. Adam Copeland, Edge, has changed his name. Do you have an opinion on this?
Yeah, I was just thinking dope.
I got two opinions, and they contradict each other. First opinion, when I saw it, it was like, what was the match the other day? It was like Big Bill against Cope or something like that. And just the names in the match reminded me of like a 99 edition of Heat when it was like meat against chest. You know, it's like, I prefer real names. I prefer, yeah. But having said that, big Adam Copeland fan, have been since like 96, 97 when I first discovered him. And if it's his call, then cool.
Yeah, can I just say though, he had if he wanted to shorten his name, he had it right there, all the way. Do you know what I mean? I don't get why he went with Cope when he could have called himself Ledge.
That's actually quite a good shout. But Cope, right? I can't say this. I kind of like it. Like he was always Edge.
Just so gay.
No, shut up.
Apparently, he wanted to
I'm entitled to it.
The Edge, but he couldn't because that's trademarked by the U2 guy.
U2 guitar. Yeah. Well, I'm fine with Cope. Honestly, I think it's funny, which I love because Goofy Wrestling for life. But you say, Si, if it's his idea and he's comfortable with it, go with it. It's easy. It sounds better than Adam Copeland.
I'd rather discuss should anyone at Cope's age be doing moves off the top turnbuckle like he did.
I haven't seen Collision yet, so I didn't see the match.
Well, no spoilers, but he comes off the way up, off the top. And
hang on, hasn't he just come back from a broken leg? If I'm correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. And this is why I'm saying, I know he's maybe in slightly better shape than Sid was, God rest his soul. But after seeing a wrestler of Sid's age and what can happen when you jump off the top rope live, and still having nightmares about that very occasionally, like 25 years later, I don't think Ed should be doing things like that. No. Sorry, Cope. Yeah.
No, I tend to agree. Right, anyway, back to Raw. Sorry, I just wanted to interject that quickly because it popped in my head. So, also removed from Raw was the Women's Intercontinental Championship final.
Right move.
Now, also a good move. This is going to be Lyra Valkyria versus Dakota Kai. Who do you think is going to win, lads?
It's got to be Lyra.
Agreed. Yeah. Andy?
I think it has to be Lyra, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was Dakota based on the little thing she's got with Triple H.
Well, I'll bet you both £1 that we get the return of Becky Lynch after Lyra Valkyria wins that title.
I'll take that.
Huh? Sound?
Yeah.
Because I think that's what they're going to do. I think Becky wants to make Lyra. She did a lot of backstage segments with her before she went away. And I think Becky looks at Lyra and sees a lot of herself back in the early days. And a feud that keeps Becky out of the world title picture, but is over the new Intercontinental Championship, would be impeccable.
Not taken away from the success of the man gimmick or the amount of fans that Becky Lynch has out there, because she's done really, really, really well for herself. But I already think that Aofi or Lyra is a better wrestler.
Oh, she is in ring.
Yeah,
by miles. Like in ring, she's.
Do you know where these two new belts now? Does that mean that we've never had a Grand Slam Women's Champion anymore?
Correct.
Don't get me started.
I think you might be correct.
Don't get me started on Grand Slam. Right, can we ban these words?
Interesting, Jim. Right, Andy, what do you want to talk about?
Couple of things for me. One, on SmackDown, the Bloodline going after LA Knight made no sense whatsoever. I mean, it's nice to see them getting a bit of a different
It
direction away
kind
from
of
Roma, but
they kind of tried to shoehorn in a reason with him throwing them out of the arena, but it's a little bit forced.
yeah, and even that, like, why would he be able to throw them out the arena? He's not the boss, is he? So
Agreed.
You know where this is going, right?
How,
This is
yeah,
starting.
Jacob's going to win the US title.
Well, LA Knight eventually gets the belt back off Nakamura. He's going
And
to
Jacob
hopefully
takes it.
fight Jacob. And if we're unlucky, it'll be Solo. At Mania. So, yeah, it's it's planting seeds.
yeah, which I don't mind. We'll see how it goes with that one. Malachi Black back to WWE.
No, thank you.
Hope. You're
I'm the
not
same
a
as
fan,
you,
are
Si.
sir?
Tommy End is a decent wrestler. Tommy End has had pretty good characters, but he's so into writing everything down precisely so far into the future, using words like cloying, and it's never going to get over with the mainstream fans. If you give a guy that kind of creative control and let him just go off and completely be self-indulgent, I don't want to watch it. You don't want to see him come into character and wrestle and do what he's told to do? Yeah, sure. But
yeah, no, that's my argument. This is the thing. In WWE, he's not going to have the freedom that he had in AEW because the inmates don't run the asylum in WWE. He's going to be, like I said before, in a controlled, structured environment. Roman runs the asylum. Bray didn't run the asylum. Bray had his own creative input. And Vince...
Yeah, this is what I mean. Let's not do that with Tommy.
No. He should be used the same way he was used in NXT Black and Gold, which was tremendous. Having banger matches with good feuds with good people.
To be fair, it's probably the last time I enjoyed Aleister Black, Tommy End, whatever you want to call him. It's the last time I enjoyed him wrestle was in NXT. Yeah. Ever since then, it's just been too deep, too much, too heavy.
I agree. On the subject of the House of Black, though, I think Brody and Buddy will be absolutely fine. I think they will do a lot better separated from that group. I suppose they could go forward using Julia as the new leader to help push her up a little bit, which would be good. But I think they'll be absolutely fine. In AEW, I've seen a lot of discourse online of people saying, they're not going to do anything Brody King now, and Buddy Matthews is going to be blah, blah, blah. It's like, don't be stupid. Buddy Matthews is too talented to be not utilized, and Brody King's probably one of the best big men in the business. He'll be absolutely fine.
But they're probably not wrong with AEW. Just because they're too talented or whatever, we've seen it time and time again over there. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I know, but Brody is used prominently on television on a regular basis.
Specifically, though, right? We've seen TK fumble so many big guys. Big Bill is starting to come into his own, but he's never really lived his full potential. Lance Archer never lived his full potential. Brian Cage has been criminally held back. And then you've got a guy like Brody King, who I think is better than any of those guys. So let's see. Let's put him in the world title division. Brody King against
Brian Cage.
Brody King against Okada. Brody King against Hangman. Those are the kind of level matches that guy should be having.
I agree. Well, Brian Cage gets Kenny Omega on Dynamite this week. Battle
of the Terminators. And some of us have waited nearly 10 years for this bout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. Oh, I know what we should talk about, Si. One of your older passions. MLW.
Ooh, MLW. Yeah.
MLW. I just watched their Coliseum show. Oh. It's on YouTube. Really good.
Okay.
Really good. Main evented by, what's his name? Japanese Jeff Jarrett, their champion.
Kojima,
thank you. Hideo Kojima. No, honestly. Sorry, I had to get the Metal Gear Solid gagging. Right. Versus Matt Riddle. There you go.
Bro.
Wanted outside of to be on my TV.
It's true.
Yeah. So it was main evented by Kojima versus Matt Riddle. I won't tell you who won, but it was a tremendous match. What I want to ask you, Si, is Matt Riddle's got a lot of flack over the last few months, and I don't see why, personally. He's always been a very upfront dude about who he is and what he does. Yes, WWE let him go, but WWE let hundreds of wrestlers go over the years.
The word dude is allegations. And straight up, who are we to judge or know what is true and what is not, unless there's an actual criminal conviction? There are so many guys across the board. Matt Riddle seems to be getting, in my opinion, an unfair amount of flack back, whereas you've got guys like Marty Scurll, who's being supported, who, in my opinion, has got absolutely no fucking business anywhere near a wrestling ring. But that's a different story. We all make our own opinions on these guys. But the general consensus with Matt Riddle has gone the wrong way. And I don't get it.
I agree. No, do I. But do you think it's good for him to be in MLW? I think it is. I think MLW has always been a solid promotion. It's never done anything that made that much noise, but it's always been a fun promotion to watch. And I think he'll be
MLW
good for them.
MLW peaked probably before AEW started and poached half the top stars.
MJF.
You had the top guys were like, Teddy Hart, and we had Tom Lawler. They had lots of good names through there, and it was a solid show. Nowadays, maybe not so much for me because there's too much of a GCW influence in that brand now.
Yeah, wasn't Jacob there as well for a while?
Jacob was a champ there, yeah.
Head of Contra.
Yeah, if you like big man matches, he had a few cracking main events while he was champion. But yeah, I've not seen that particular show. It's probably good for Riddle, but I would say it's probably better for MLW.
Okay, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that. Right, Andy, I'm going to ask you something that I already know the answer to. Did you watch Wrestle Kingdom or Wrestle Dynasty?
No.
So you didn't watch Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd?
Oh yeah, I seen that match. That was good.
Good lad. That was good. Brilliant analysis. All right, a lot of people have already said Kenny Omega has had the match of the year and we've got 12 months left to go. I would like to not talk about Kenny, and I would like to talk about Gabe. Because, Simon, you've met him. I've met him.
Yeah.
He's a lovely lad. I have watched him from bingo halls now to the Tokyo Dome.
Interesting. I've actually seen him perform live on 3 continents. And despite jet lag and travel, I've seen him in Japan, I've seen him in the States, and I've seen him in the UK. And wherever that kid wrestles, he just gets better and better. He does remind me of a young Regal. He's like a young Steven Regal, perhaps without the promo skills, but that doesn't matter so much in New Japan. It was a great match. Yeah,
I thought his promo was dead good when he shit all over Tony Khan for not promoting his match properly.
It was hilarious. He dropped
and he was right.
15 F-bombs in one promo. I think that's a record.
And he was right.
He was right. He was completely
It's not a
right.
record.
What?
You ever seen a New Jack promo?
Oh, good point. Good point. I will say, Dale has beat me to the post because I wanted to bring this up, which is my whole reason for talking about it.
Okay, no.
Right. Now, if you did not watch Wrestle Kingdom or Wrestle Dynasty specifically, you will have noticed a young man who is the main British commentator for New Japan, whose name I will not mention because I am not getting involved in this. I am just talking about it from afar. Got very anti-AEW in his comments. Now, I don't think there was anything wrong with this, in my personal opinion. I think he was doing what a good commentator should do, and he was defending his home promotion against the foreign invader, which is what AEW are.
Joey Styles, WWE-esque.
Yes, that's a very, very good comparison, Andy. I will completely agree with that. I think it is ridiculous that he has been suspended.
Yes.
I think it is completely unfair, all because Tony Khan can't take a bit of criticism when it's actually better for your business, because the man is promoting a war effectively between your two companies, which is exactly what people are watching in Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd had new gear. He was decked out in New Japan logos. Tanahashi was crying after the goddamn match. And they have tarnished this match and this excellent bit of commentary work by suspending this young man who did nothing but a good job for 2 months. I believe they suspended him.
Can I just say as well, Tanahashi's a bitch.
Oh, shut up. Leave Horseshoe alone.
Dude, right. in all due respect, I know we've all got some wild opinions on here, except for myself, obviously, but that is one of the biggest absolute shithousery statements I've ever heard. Tanahashi is an absolute legend, and I will not sit here in silence and let you tolerate that kind of.
He's 100%. He's 100% a legend, but crying.
He's the Japanese John Cena. He's the Japanese HBK. That man is a legend. They bottle up his sweat and they sell it at the live event.
It's called Picari sweat.
Not just to women either.
No, they sell it to men. I have seen women beg for that man's sweat. He takes towels off people, wipes his armpits, hands it back, and they hold it like it's a newborn baby. Tanahashi is beyond legendary status.
While I was at Kurukan Hall, I paid over $200 to lay down on my back and have a sponge wrung out that dripped all over my face, covered in Tanahashi sweat.
That is how vital that man is to New Japan.
That might be a slight exaggeration, but yeah.
Either way, no Andy, bad Andy. But
I thought you'd be happier this week.
I know.
I just don't like men crying over wrestling matches unless it actually means something.
Well, no, but you got to realize. Think of it this way: Tony Khan has gutted New Japan Pro. Tony Khan and WWE have gutted New Japan Pro Wrestling over the last 10 years. They've taken all wrestling promotions have gutted New Japan over the last 10 years. They've taken all their top foreign stars. AJ Styles, Gallows and Anderson, regardless what you think of them.
Sign them for on-year contracts. It's your own fault.
No. I know it's their own fault, but they have been gutted. And Tanahashi was handed the ball of a sinking ship. Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty for him was the resurgence of his company. That match with Gabe Kidd and Kenny Omega to him meant so much because Kenny had chosen to come back to Japan to wrestle there before he went to AEW.
A fantastic match, but it was heartbreaking to see the Tokyo Dome half empty.
Wasn't it?
I just hope that this is, like you say, the resurgence, and it's going to pick up because as much as I can resent TK for his influence and poaching off the top stars and making him lose regularly on his own TV shows like he has, New Japan has struggled a lot because of attendance, because of following within Japan. And I'd love to see it flourish again and build. And I'm just not sure we're ever going to see its glory days back anytime soon.
Well,
but I totally
think it's going to take some time. I think it's going to take some time. I think they're doing a wonderful job with Zack Sabre Jr. Zack's one of my favorite wrestlers on the planet, and again, lovely lad.
The first nominated Japanese world champion to enter and leave Wrestle Kingdom as champion.
Yeah. First gaijin to ever do it. And I'm proud of them. I'm proud to call him a British wrestler. And Zack Sabre Jr. And I know you didn't see Andy, but I'm guessing you might have seen it. Si, have you seen the main event with Shota Umino?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, what a piece of work.
Yeah. They're the two men watching for.
Yeah, they beat the snot out of each other. Zack twisted him in ways I didn't think you could twist people. And Shota has come along a long, long way. And as Tanahashi is now calling him the future ace of New Japan, that is a lot of pressure to have on a young man's shoulders. And I wish him all the best.
How's the card doing?
He won the Continental Classic.
Oh, God. Is that you? Honest to God.
Don't trigger me on Okada tonight, please.
Leave the boy alone. We weren't talking about AEW. Talk about New Japan, Andy. You got to separate the two.
No, but you're talking about people that they've ruined. There you go.
I wasn't talking about people that they've ruined.
New Japan.
I didn't talk about anyone that they ruined. New Japan didn't ruin.
No. Sorry, you turned around and said about Tony Khan taking the talent and ruining them. So
that was ages ago.
Yeah,
stuck in my head.
You look at the top talent that have left New Japan this past 4 or 5 years. So, Nick started off with, we got AJ Styles, we got Gallows and Anderson, followed closely by Kenny Omega. Jericho never goes over there anymore. He did 3 or 4 matches and then never went back. Then we got Jay White.
Cody.
More recently,
Cody, the young
guys like Suzuki. They wrestle more outside of Japan than they do within Japan. Yes, you've got Cody. And you've got, I think, Takeshita. I think that's like 12 already. with Tanahashi winding down, with Yuji Nagata retiring, with Kojima being on tour and winding down, they are really struggling. And yeah, a lot of it is TK's fault. But, you know, this is
my hope is the new relationship that Tanahashi has forged with Noah is going to really help that company, because Noah has got some. I'm guessing you don't watch pro wrestling, Noah, Andy.
Is that the one where Omos won the tag belts?
Yes.
Yeah, good man.
They did it the same way as Omos did with AJ. Omos is doing so well. I saw an interview with Omos the other day on a Segway, and he was just walking through the streets of Tokyo, and he got stopped by like a random fan who was like a YouTuber that was interviewing him. He is so humble, such a nice guy, and it's great to see him get another chance. You know, he was forced down our throats. I felt violated when Vince was pushing him the way he was pushing him. It was too much. It was too soon. It was too in your face. Yeah. Now he's building up a little excursion credibility. I'd love to see him come back one day and play his career again to a slightly.
Well, he's one of those few true giants left in the business.
Didn't the Young Bucks win the championships at Japan as well?
The Young Bucks did win the New Japan Heavyweight Tag Team. Well, they don't have lightweight tag. Do they? Yeah. So the Heavyweight Tag Team Championships for the 7th time.
I thought it was the 8th.
No. I think it's the 7th. Because they had the Michael Jordan record, which was 6 championships, and then because they went on about that for months. And it's a very good thing.
I don't remember Michael Jordan winning 6 tag team championships in wrestling.
No. You know what I mean. No, keep the Young Bucks off AEW TV for a while. 2, if the Young Bucks are on AEW television, they are going to parade around the New Japan tag belts, which is good for New Japan.
It's good for New Japan, but it's not good for wrestling.
But it's not good. How is it good for New Japan when New Japan US has closed its doors? There's less and less people subscribing to New Japan within the continental US because they now have both of the main domestic companies on different streaming services. New Japan is slipping away in America and having their belts paraded around on a TV show that like less than 400-ish thousand actually watch. Yeah. It's not doing Japan any favors anymore. It's not.
Yeah, and also Dale's just said that Jordan might not have won tag belts, but Robbins is. Well, he also says, why is Moxley the flag bearer for a company that prides themselves on wrestling? He needs a drink. I don't have a clue why that clown's at the top of the shop, mate.
I know why he gets to get away with what he wants to get away with. It's because he's been Tony Khan's fall guy. Whenever Tony needed somebody to hold the title, he put it on Mox. Mox, regardless of what your opinion is of him, is a damn hard worker. And that's why Tony lets him do what he wants. I will say that the NWO Violent storyline that they've been doing for the past X amount of months is getting very, very stale very fast.
I don't want to talk about that, but I would like to talk about quickly something connected.
Go for it.
What do you guys think about this rumor that I've seen a few people kind of trying to push the agenda to of a new stable of heels with Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens all coming together?
Yeah.
And then you say, maybe call themselves the Sword. Who knows? Would you like to see that trio together?
Yes.
I would like to, yes, very much so. The Shield worked because you had 3 very distinct workers with 3 very distinct looks and very distinct styles. And give them credit, considering they were really unknowns when Seth, Roman, and Dean came in, that they got over to the extent they had. You now have the chance to take the indiest of indie darlings in Kevin Owens, the indiest of indie darlings in Seth Rollins, and the indiest of indie darlings in Drew McIntyre. 3 guys who are beloved by the IWC. Putting them all together in one stable. Not only will you probably get unanimous love from it online, but I believe for the fans in attendance, it will be true.
Yeah, and I think 2 of them have already been in absolutely amazing trios as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know, obviously Seth Rollins with the
and Three-Man Band.
Three-Man Band.
Yeah. And technically, Kevin was in a trio with the Young Bucks. Back in the day.
But I've got one issue with this trio.
Okay.
So the Shield works originally for me because, the three of them resembled the three characters that were the bad guys in Superman 2. So obviously Roman Reigns was your
Roman's
Nod,
Nod.
and Seth Rollins was Zod, and then of course we had Dean Ambrose as
Ursa.
Ursa, yeah.
Ursa.
However, which one of these three men, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins, is going to have to shave their beard off and have a crazy fringe to pull off Ursa?
Oh,
It doesn't work otherwise.
that's true. I think Drew would have to be the one to shave because Seth's always had a beard. Kevin's always had a beard. Drew didn't start with a beard. And Drew's a damn handsome guy. Under that facial hair, he can get away with it.
Do you remember Drew the first time around, the chosen one? And do you remember how pretty that man was without a beard?
Oh, yeah. That's he's a damn handsome guy.
He can be
I think Drew without a beard would work.
Yeah.
All right, lads. Well, as we are fast approaching that time of day, anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, one more thing, Vince McMahon. I know he got a fine the other day for his misgivings, shall we say. American justice system is a load of crap in it, you know what I mean? How can a CEO be found guilty of what he's done there and just get away with a fine that's not even like he's probably paid that out of his sock drawer, hasn't he?
I know. Considering that it was $12 million of company funds that he used, and yet he only has to pay back 1.6. I think it's 1.6.
Yeah. And where does that 1.6 go into the government? It's ridiculous.
It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. I believe that Janelle Grant released this. I haven't.
I've seen the statement.
Janelle Grant released this statement. I'm not sure what she said. Do you know what she said?
Basically, it was just saying that he's proven that he's a criminal and they'll crack on with their case. Is the gist of it, yeah.
Ah, okay.
But it's not been proven. Vince has been cleared. It is what it is. Do I personally want to see him come back and have anything to do with WWE? No. And I was also a Vince guy. I was a big fan of his work for years and years.
Yeah.
Maybe not 10. Yeah. But does it mean that we might possibly get Brock back? Because if Vince is cleared, Brock is cleared.
Yeah, Vince isn't cleared, though. Vince is only cleared from an accountant aspect, which is the SEC.
No. I read his statement. Do you want me to find it?
I've read the statement, but his statement is based on the SEC. It's not based on the Janelle Grant lawsuit or anything like that. It's only based on the stock issues that he had where he used the company money to pay the hush money. It's not saying he said it's an accounting error, and basically he admitted to what he'd done, but he said it was an accounting oversight. Is what happened. Yeah. But when he's saying that he's all cleared, that he's not. He's cleared of what was going on with the SEC.
He's cleared of the federal case, but now it's the public case.
No, there's still federal investigation going into other things. This is just to do with the business side of it.
Okay.
So you're alluding that Vince's statement saying he's all cleared and that's the end of it is actually not true.
No, it's not true. It's basically, well, it is if you're talking about the specific case of what he's being done for, which was I think was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of what Endeavour looked at, was that, from the business point of view with shareholders and whatnot, that manipulation of what he paid out when he shouldn't have done. Then he is cleared of that. But if you're talking about every other legal issue he's got, no, he's not.
Interesting. Dale, are you still watching? Are you still with us? If you're with us real quick, I'd like to know what your opinion, quickly because we are running out of time, I'd like to know what your opinion is as a WWE shareholder on this new happening. How would you feel if Vince came back?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see. Apparently, he started his own company now, hasn't he? He's even bought a warehouse and a few other bits and bobs and got some staff on retainers.
I read that it said studio. Vince ain't going to record in a studio. That's NWA. He's not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going down the wrestling route. I think he's going down other things because,
Do you think we see a revival of the WWF?
No, I think the studio that he's got is not a studio what we think, like kind of a filming studio. I think it's more of a studio for editing, etc. like that, from what I gather.
Okay.
So what kinds of projects he works on, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But I think if he thinks that he's 100% cleared on Everton, then he's a silly man, because there's still a lot more to go in that story.
Yeah, there is.
You know, even Janelle Grant, don't forget, it was only the findings of the SEC was separate because based on stock manipulation, they would not have asked her to defer her case. So whatever the government were looking into, based on that, is nothing to do with that filing issues.
Is Dale's response? I don't have a problem with him being seen. I have a problem with the whiners and the backlash I'd have to tune out.
That's true. Yeah. Well put.
Yeah.
Well put.
But as I say, I'm not trying to say that this guy's guilty of anything or anything like that. At the end of the day, you know, it's got to take its due process. But from everything I've read online this week, is like that due process hasn't finished in regards to a large chunk of it, especially with the Janelle Grant stuff. So I know he's fighting to keep it under wraps and done it in a closed courtroom, and I know she wants it to be open, so we haven't even had that battle yet. So from a Brock Lesnar perspective, where we started getting into that is, I think he could come back at any time, because I think no one actually named him, and I know it's a bit like hit and miss, isn't it? But yeah, I'm just interested in seeing what happens with that.
I still argue, you know, and I'll argue this is like one of my hills. It's like, I don't know what Brock did wrong.
No. I will die on that hill with you, Simon. There is nothing illegal in someone sending you a video and you watching it.
Yes,
100%.
If I am going for a job interview and I decide to renew a contract, and the person I'm signing that contract with surprises me and sends me a female for my entertainment, what have I done wrong?
You definitely haven't. It's like one of yeah, it's like one of them things, isn't it? Where, you know, I'm trying to think what's a good analogy for it. So, like, you know, if me and you say you're a member of the Ku Klux Klan, yeah, and me and you are friends, and it's like I haven't done that.
Is this because he is blonde, sir?
Can we not touch Ku Klux or anything to do with the Holocaust?
Yeah.
Can we avoid
Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's say you're
monetized.
Okay, let's say you've got something, I don't know, whatever it is that you know, you've got a political view or whatever else that's up there in the wider variety, yeah, and it's like, I'm known to be a really good friend with you, and it's like, from a criminal point of view, I've done nothing wrong or whatever else, yeah, but, you know, from a PR point of view and that, it's like WWE might not want to touch him for that reason because he's integrated in that. Do you know what I mean? So it might not, you know, as much as he's done nothing wrong.
On WWE TV when she's Vince's daughter? Why is Triple H on WWE TV when he's Vince's son-in-law?
Because they haven't been included in that lawsuit paperwork. Yeah,
they were that close, and yet people know with any semblance of common sense that they didn't do anything wrong. You know, you've got to put yourself in these people's position. If I was Stephanie, if I was Triple H, what would I have done different? Absolutely nothing. They're not going to blow the whistle on a close family member for something that may or may not be right.
Oh, 100%.
Lesnar, you know, what would you do different if you were Brock Lesnar? How many guys out there, right, who straight up would say, no, I would not look at that video. I would not read those pictures.
100%, mate. The only sad thing is you've got nowadays is just the way that the world's fucking crazy. And anytime anything like that, you just get, you know, labelled and dragged into it, don't you? Do you know what I mean? I mean, like, as I say, I mean, one thing I do say is, like, with regards to Vince himself, I'm not saying he's done anything wrong or done anything right, but it depends on, like, if he has done that, then, you know, some of the stuff that it was written in there, it's a bit eyelash on that girl, innit, you know what I mean? But at the same time, she still played ball. She could have went and worked in Walmart.
That's the thing. That's always been my argument of it. She's now claiming, boo-hoo, I had to do all of this, but it's like, well, you were paid for that job.
That is my argument. Okay, you can cut me off halfway through saying this. As controversial as it is, okay, whether it's, I'm going to use the word prostitution, whether it's sugaring, whether it's an agreement, a negotiation, transactional or not, she got paid for it, and she got paid well, and then she got paid twice.
And the thing is, the other thing is, why didn't she stop it? If she had that much of an issue with it, why did she not stop it? You know what I mean?
Why did she just say no? Why did you just say no? What's Vince going to do? Force it?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about
Well,
that would be wrong.
here and back. That would be very wrong.
We're making somebody an
Either
offer.
way, gents, we are at that time of the day. Either of you got anything to share?
No.
No? Sweet, I have. Ladies and gents, if you like what we do here at Wrestle Legion, if you enjoy the content we put out, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything we do in the future. I promise this year is going to have a lot more content on this channel. I've got a few irons in fires. We're going to start really working on it. Last year was a very bad year for a large part of our crew. Things didn't go the way we wanted. Life got in the way, and the schedule dropped off. This year, I promise, the schedule will be back. I am bringing back the SmackDown review. I am going to do everything I can to get this channel back to where we want it to be. So please continue to tune in. And you can catch me on another channel on Fridays, Friday Nitro Reviews, every Friday at 5 p.m. UK British time. I think that's about 11 a.m. Central in America. I don't know what that'll be on the time. You can catch us reviewing every episode of Monday Nitro with myself and the Drip King, Jimmy Bebe. We are up to episode 6 this week. We just did episode 5, which had Luger versus Savage, Flair versus Arn Anderson, and the debuting Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko. It was tremendous. And this week is going to be good, except we have Sting versus the Shark, which I imagine is not.
I think that was small.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah. All right, but thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gents. And always remember, we are but 3 geeks obsessed with a good show. And our opinion means nothing without yours. In the comments below.
Wrestling Legion.
Fine.
We make it make sense. That's your cue, Nick.
That's fine.